Look, Cassandra, thank you for coming on the Red Carpet Roundtable podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to speak with you guys about all things.
Yeah.
And we're so happy to have you on, and Daryl and I, we are so pleased. Um, First, let's go and get deep into your acting career. What attracted you to begin your career in this wonderful entertainment industry as an actress?
Thank you so much, Ryochi, for that question. Actually, believe it or not, ever since I was a child, I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be a child actor like on Disney or Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon was like the thing back then. And I just didn't have the opportunity, afforded to me at that time. My mom was a single mom. So it was like, just go to school and make it through life. And I'm kind of happy that my journey didn't start then. I lived in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. And so my Chicago accent will come out every once in a while. Um, but knowing what I know now as an adult and being in the industry, I think it definitely served me not to go in at a young age and to go in a little bit later in life.
Nice.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, I
Why?
want to ask. Oh, go ahead, Ryoshi.
Oh,
My
I'm
bad.
sorry. Why is that you recommend not going into the entertainment industry such a young age? Because there's a lot of young actors out there, and for them to listen to your interview, I mean, this question in this
Mhm.
interview, they're probably wondering, hearing as a young actress who is 7 years old or an young actor
Mhm.
says, "Oh, why did she say start later in life?" So could you answer
Yeah.
that question for them?
Yeah, that's an amazing question, actually. I think it's very insightful. Um, for me personally, and I'm just going to speak off my own personal experience because I think we're all different human beings leading different lives, so it may be
Oh,
different
yeah.
from somebody else. But for me personally, um, I enjoyed being a kid. Like at 7, like going outside and getting sweaty and playing soccer or playing football or playing tag or whatever the game was of the day, and then just literally worried about playing as long as I could outside and then coming, if it was growing up in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, it does get cold and dark and rainy. And so like on those days, I was inside playing video games or playing Barbies. So I think it's just important to be a kid, and enjoy childhood because it goes by so fast. Why focus on working at so young? And I think it's amazing if somebody wants to chase their dream and that's what they want to do, but I think you can miss out on a lot of life experiences if you do that, depending on just how driven and how much you want to delve into the acting world. But also, as an adult going in a little bit later, I have so many real life experiences to pull from that I can use in my acting. And so I feel like for me personally, it makes it a little bit easier to tap into a specific character because I can pull from a real life experience or something similar that I've been through in my life. And I wouldn't have had that at 7 years old or 10 years old or 16 years old, and so for me, I think it's just life experience. Enjoy being a kid and accumulate all the different life experiences you can through each, childhood, preteen, teen, early 20s when you're like in college. Get all those experiences and collect them because it's going to make you a well-rounded person and help you later on in your acting career.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And what
I think,
about you guys? Because I know you guys are both in the industry as well. And Ryochi, you were saying that your goal is to.
well, yes, my goal is to have my own show, but yes, I've started this whew, a very long time. I lost track how far I've gone. But and realistically, you're right. I started a little later in my life, 23, 24 years old. Um, but as myself, I always thought about starting when I was young,
Mhm.
and I was kind of like, oh, my friends are playing, so I was like, I'm gonna just go out and enjoy life. But everything you said, it kind of brings back memories. Like right, enjoy childhood life and then go from there. So
Yeah.
as myself, I have no regret,
Yeah.
right? I don't have no regret. Because somebody asked me one time, do you have any regrets of not starting anything, your podcast or anything a lot sooner when you're like 10
Mhm.
years old or 12 years old or 13 years
Mhm.
old? And I always said, when I was 18 years old, you asked me that question, of course I would say yes.
Yeah.
But when you asked me when I was like 23 or 22, I would have said no, I don't, because I realized what was happening later on in life. I could see enjoyment, going to like
Mhm.
football games or basketball games or NBA games, enjoying that. Didn't have to
Yeah.
worry about all that. So that's a good question to ask me. If you asked me now, if you didn't know me or Daryl didn't want to know me, and they asked me that in public, I probably would say no. I have no regrets. I mean, people probably look at me like, "What? This guy had no regrets?" So I mean, no, I don't. I don't. That's the honest answer.
What about you, Daryl?
Um, I just enjoy being an actor, a husband, a personal trainer. I was a podcaster as well, and so I think for me, I just want to do the hardest things in life. This is hard. Being an actor is hard. It's
Yes.
unpredictable. It's not your control. Give yourself some grace. Be patient. You're learning all these different things on this journey,
Yeah.
and it's just about perspectives.
Oh yeah, 100%. I
Yes.
think it's the best part about the journey is all the amazing people that you get to meet. I feel like, you always hear that saying, find your tribe in life.
Yeah,
And I don't know if I've really found my tribe, but I will say that being in this industry, I've met so many friends that I connected with and I feel so close to that I have known a minuscule amount of time compared to other people in my life. And it's just because we have that common passion and that
yeah.
common goal together, and we like support each other. We want each other to do well. We want each other to keep succeeding and getting to the next best thing. But I
Hmm.
mean, I also kind of feel like most of the people I meet in this industry, like we don't fit in like with the norm of society, right? We're
Yeah.
kind of like on the fringe or on the outskirts. We're a little bit different, but I think it takes that type of personality to be able to do what we do.
Yeah, I agree with
100%.
you completely because, there's always those moments when you're doing this and you're just sitting and thinking to yourself like, man, you know, 6 months have gone by. I haven't done one film or one commercial, or maybe it's a year,
Hmm.
but I really think it's just all about God's timing, to be honest. That's what it's
Hmm.
about. We
Oh,
aren't,
100%. Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, we're
And
not
the
in,
one thing I would say is you're right. It's the connection.
Hmm.
I'm still learning as myself, and I'm being honest about that. Excuse me. But in realistic is that never thought you have so many people in the entertainment industry following you on Instagram, coming messaging you, encouraging you, supporting
Hmm.
you. And you feel like, you're not knowing them really well, but you
Hmm.
becoming knowing them because they're like another family. And that's
And isn't
wonderful,
it,
man.
yeah, and isn't it crazy that it seems like your biggest supporters, your biggest fans are the people that are strangers first, and then you become friends. And at least in my situation, I mean, I do have some supportive friends and family members. Obviously, my kids and my husband support me, but I feel like some of my biggest supporters are people that were once strangers that have
Mhm.
now we've now formed this bond and connection over Facebook, over Instagram, and we will like message each other. And it's really cool that people can be so supportive and positive that you didn't know previously. And I think there's something magical about that is connecting us together and drawing us together.
For sure.
Absolutely, for sure. You mentioned you have kids, is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Um, this one is a parent question, is that,
Okay.
and I ask a lot of parents this, is that in this entertainment industry,
Hmm.
what age do you believe for kids to get into acting and go into audition and getting them ready to, or age appropriate for them to
Hmm.
get used to going to auditions, and you're like, oh my
Hmm.
goodness, mom or dad, why I didn't get
Hmm.
this? Am I not beautiful? Am I not tall enough? Or did I
Hmm.
not wear enough makeup? What
Hmm.
is your suggestions to a lot of parents who are maybe listening to you?
Yeah, so I mean that kind of goes back to our first topic that we were talking on, and me just not feeling like the industry. I know that the industry needs children. Obviously, there's roles for kids, there's roles for preteens and teenagers. Like it's just a part of the industry. But for me personally, I don't want to have my kids in the industry at least until they're 18. If they want to do like acting class at like 16, 17 for a couple of years to prep them prior to reaching that adult age, I'm totally fine with that. But I feel like I want them to have a strong sense of self and
Yes.
values, things that they're not willing to forego on in any circumstance. And I think that comes from having a strong sense of self. And a lot of people are trying to find themselves when you're a kid and when you're a teenager, trying to figure out who you are, what you like. Shoot, even, in your 20s, your early 20s, you're still trying to figure out who am I? What do I like to do? What is.
That's so true. That is
Yeah,
so
so I think
true.
I just feel like it's important to have a strong sense of self and know who you are, and in order to do that you have to live life and have life experiences and have a really good support system. And I think that starts at the home, and not everybody, we're not all afforded that opportunity. Some of us don't grow up with a great support system in the home, and so you have to figure it out on your own. And I think when that's the circumstance, it takes a little bit longer to really find yourself and who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
completely agree. You know, why rush it? They're still developing. They're still, maybe they don't want to be in this.
Right.
Maybe they
Or
want
maybe
to.
they think they do,
Yeah.
and then they, get in it, and it has a huge toll on their self-confidence. I mean, how many Disney stars do we see out there, or child actors that had that really hard transition because they grew up in front of the camera and all eyes were on them, and overly critical, the paparazzi, it's a little bit different now because now everything's instant. Like it's right there in front of your face on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. I mean, it's just right there in your face. Everything is. So I think it's even more, um, I don't know, difficult for people, especially younger people now, just because of how fast the information is out there.
Yeah.
An overly critical society, although I think we're trying to head in a better direction.
We're trying.
We're trying, yeah. So
My,
I
go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna ask. So like how did you guys, I know you said Daryl, you were a previous guest on Ryochi's show, and you guys decided to team up together and
Yeah. Ryochi was like, "Hey, would you I have a question for you? Would you like to be my co-host?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, let's do it, bro."
that's awesome.
And it's something that I really really enjoy. Just not just the time that I get to spend here and with Ryochi and the guests that we may have, but I'm just really intrigued by you know like I mentioned to you, like so many people see the beginning of someone's life and the
Yeah.
success of someone's life.
Yeah.
They don't understand the mud that you went through to get to where you are to be successul.
Yes.
That's worth hearing about.
Yeah, you're so true. And with the acting, it's all about the mountains and the valleys. So like you were saying earlier, sometimes you'll go like 6 months with like nothing, and people think that if you're an actress or a model or director or like that you're getting paid good money. What they fail to realize if they're not in the industry, that it really is feast or famine. And I don't even say feast at this point in my career. I'm not feasting. I'm doing a lot of stuff for pennies on the dollar, but that's a part of paying your dues, so to speak. Part
Mhm.
of it, just getting that experience under your belt and networking and meeting amazing people and really kind of finding your niche and where you fit in, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah.
getting comfortable in front of the camera.
Yeah, that too, on top of auditions.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like personally, I'm always so nervous, even though the auditions most of them are virtual, I get so nervous in front of them, and I feel like I'm better on set because when I'm on set, and I think most actors are probably the same way, and you're in costume, wardrobe, and you're in the setting, it's so much easier to live and be the character. Whereas when you're standing in your bedroom with a sheet draped up behind you and a pile of laundry behind the camera, that nobody else can see, but is staring you at the face, it's a little bit different.
Right. There's work to be done
Yeah,
on
always.
top of
Always.
work.
Yeah, exactly.
Never ends.
That's true. It's so funny to think about it. It's just people tell me doing audition in person is a lot better than doing it at home because you don't have to
Mhm.
worry about anything looking at you or staring at you or the laundry or oh, I have to clean the house or I have to clean the kitchen or stuff like that. So
Or your
that's
kids screaming in the other room, Mom! You know, that makes it really difficult too. And you have to stop and redo it. Wait
Yeah.
30 minutes until they're in bed.
that's very true. That's very true. I want to dig deep into your upcoming projects and
Yeah.
so what projects are you currently working on, if you're allowed to talk about it,
Yeah.
and what projects have you done in the past?
So right now, currently, I'm not working on anything. Everything is in production, post-production. And all of that is going to come out in 2025. So I'll say, okay, no, okay. A couple things I've done have already come out. So the first thing I ever did was God's Not Dead 5, and I was a background actor on that. And it was so funny because I remember when I just randomly came across this email on Facebook or this message. And I'm like, okay, like I don't even follow any actor stuff. Why is this showing on my Facebook? You know how like sometimes you just get random things in your feed. And so I was like, okay, maybe this is a sign from God. So I'm gonna just put it out there. I'm gonna apply to the email. So I did. And then I prayed and I said, God, I always wanted to be an actress as a child. If this is meant for me and this is your wish and your will, please let me get this. And I will always glorify you and your name, no
Yes.
matter my
Yes, yes.
success.
Yes.
And I will, shout it from the rooftops. And about an hour later, I got a confirmation email. And so it was like this adrenaline rush. I was like, thank you, God. And I didn't know what to expect. And I showed up to set. And honestly, for that being my first set ever, it was amazing because it was a Christian movie.
Mhm.
All the staff, all the crew were so friendly. There was no egos on the set. David White is the main actor there. There's other big names as well, Johnny Blaze. Oh my gosh, Ray Wise. And I'm having a moment. The guy who used to play Chachi on Happy Days. What is his name?
Oh,
Ugh, I can't remember. Well, anyhow, every single person I met was so nice. And the lead actors, they were eating with the background actors, like they were approachable and warm and friendly and welcoming. And it was just the best experience. And so I guess you could say the acting bug bit me at that point. And then I just started applying for anything and everything. And the next role I got is actually a movie called You're It. It is a horror role, and it's by a director called Ronald Rossman here in the Charlotte area. It is going to be released in theaters, I think, in February. And it's kind of like an old school horror classic. And at first I wasn't sure if I should do it or not because I'm like, I really want to be a Christian actress, but I prayed on it and I prayed hard. And I just kept praying and kept praying and kept praying. And finally, I got this feeling, and the feeling was your goal is to reach people. Whether you reach 10 people, thousands of people, millions of people through a movie, or just one person that was on the crew who helped make the movie, you're doing God's work.
Yes.
So in that moment of clarity, I realized if I meet one person that's struggling, that's a crew member or an actor, they're feeling kind of lost, and I can just show up and I can be joyful and happy. And not because my life is perfect, but because I know I can go home and pray to Jesus, like I accept it. So, that's the goal. So I'm doing that movie. That movie comes out in February. You're It by Ronald Rossman. There's a blind date movie coming out. I'm not sure when that one's coming out. I had a very, very small background, support role in that, but I just had a couple lines, but it was still fun. A lot of nice people on that set. And the big one that I did was called Sleepless Beauty. And that is by Tabitha Hicks, another Charlotte local. And I
Nice.
actually got a lead role in that movie. So
Okay.
Hey.
within a year, with less than a
That's
year of
awesome.
acting,
Yes.
I got a lead role in a feature length film. And that was one of my goals. I know, like, as an actor or as a podcaster or whatever, a director, a producer, you have to have goals, whatever you're doing. And so one of my goals was I wanted to get a lead in a feature film within a year of acting, and I got it. And it was by far the best experience. I loved it. I had a blast. We filmed everything on the weekends. Most independent films are done on the weekends or nights. And that one I believe is coming out in February 2025 as well. I'm trying to think what else.
Busy, busy.
Yeah, I got to do background on Cobra Kai.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
fun. Yeah, I met William Zepka. He goes by Billy. If you meet him in real life, he goes by Billy. And honestly, like, I'm probably biased, but he's my favorite out of everybody. Um, Everybody's friendly, but there's just like I don't know if like they wrote the character to be like him. I mean, I feel like he put so much of his true self in his character. Like, he just seems like a really fun, happy-go-lucky guy. Like, every time I was on set, he seemed like he was in a really good mood. And he was super friendly and warm and welcoming to everybody, whether you were a background actor or the other lead actor, or a crew member. Like, he was just genuine. He came across as very genuine and real. And so that was a really awesome experience. And Ralph Macchio, I didn't get to talk to him, but he's like all business. He's a cool guy. But that one of the episodes I was there, he was co-directing. And so I could tell because he was also starring in that episode as well. So he was having to switch back and forth between acting in it and directing it and acting in it and
Wow.
directing it. And I haven't had that opportunity yet. I've heard it is difficult to do to wear both hats because you're thinking of so many things at once. And
Yeah.
he did it flawlessly, of course, but I could tell he was just like very, eye on the prize, getting it done.
He's
Oh,
locked in.
yeah. And then I also got to do Tulsa Kings. That was really cool. But of course, the one day that I was there, Sly was not. So I didn't get to see Stallone. But I did get to meet Chris. Oh my gosh, how do you say his last name? Calvaderi. He plays Goody on the show. The actor who plays Goody. I can't say his last name. He was super friendly and super nice. And so we were doing the scene and I was just in the background, like in the casino playing blackjack or something. And he had his line that he says, and he was sitting there waiting on the film, and he turned around and looked at me. He said, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "I'm doing great. How are you doing?" Because I was just ecstatic to be there, like on this huge movie set or TV show set in Atlanta. And he's like, "I'm doing good." And he's like, how do you like it? And we just a little bit of small talk, and then we're actually friends on Instagram now, and we message from time to time. But it's like that. Just meeting those actors, I've made so many friends on those sets that were also doing background that I stay in touch with that do like big things, big gigs, and a lot of them are Atlanta based. But for like the show like Cobra Kai, there was people flying in from California, from Ohio, Indiana, Washington, can't I mean literally everywhere people were flying in to do Cobra Kai background. That's how huge
Wow.
that show is.
Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, yeah. I'm trying
That's
to think if I that's everything. I'm sure I missed something. I probably did. But if you go look at my IMDb, it's on there.
I think my question for you is what really influenced you to become an actress? I know you you've been in the business a long time, but what was that one influence that just really made you just go, okay, this is what I'm going to dedicate my time to doing and be successful at it?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Honestly, it wasn't anything in the acting world that made me decide to do it. During COVID timeframe, so like 2020, I lost a lot of family members, and it wasn't to COVID. It was like one to cancer, one to lung issue. It was different things. One to old age, and it was when I lost my cousin who was close in age to me to cancer. He found out in January, and then he died in June of that year. So it was just like 5 months after he found out, and he was gone. And it was kind of so fast that we were all in shock about it. But it made me realize, and I always knew that life is never promised. Tomorrow is never promised. But I started thinking, I'm like, if I knew I was dying and I was waiting for it, what would I regret? I would regret not chasing my dream. And my dream was to be, or is to be, a famous actress. And it's always been my dream. But more importantly than that, I think it's having a positive influence in the acting world. So using the acting for good and
Yes.
spreading the gospel and just spreading goodness. I feel like our world is missing that right now. There's a lot of broken people who, we can all say why. We all have different experiences that have broken us, but to be able to put yourself back together, which you can't do on your own. I tried it. I couldn't do it on my own. I had to succumb to Jesus Christ and lay it all out on the line. Um, I was slowly able, he put me back together, and it made me stronger, but it also made me more empathetic to people. I'm not like the stereotypical Christian, I don't think. I didn't grow up in the church. I went to church on like holidays. I come from a broken home, so I didn't grow up in like a perfect household. I lived with my mom. She was a single mom for a long time. And so it's just my mom, me, and my sister for a long time. And sometimes like we were so poor that we were like digging through the couch trying to find change just to buy like milk for cereal or put gas in the car so she could take us to school that day. I mean, it's stuff like that. And so because of that in my life, like it gave me I think I want to say a more empathetic view for all people,
Hmm.
and just that you don't have to be perfect. None of us are perfect. That's unattainable and impossible to be perfect. You just try to be good, just try to be better, and people
Yes.
remember the way that you make them feel. So I don't know about you guys, but I've been around people that really make me feel like terrible. And I walk away from the situation thinking, oh, man, I hope I never run into that person again, you know? And then I've been around people that you just walk up to them and it's like a light. Like you're just like, oh man, like I can't wait to work with them. Like it just, it brings out like this joy and this happiness in you. And it's just them being who they are. And I think it's a lot more difficult to be kind than it is to be mean. I think it's easy to be rude and dismissive and mean to somebody. That's the easy thing to do. Anybody can do that. It's
Yep.
much more difficult to be try to be take a step back from a situation and look at things from all perspectives and just, be a little bit nicer, gentler to people, kinder to people. And you don't have to agree with everybody's view. We're never going to agree on views. That's because we're all different and that's okay, but just have kindness and respect towards people.
Yeah. You know,
Right.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because that's one of the last thing that I posted on my Instagram is about being kind. And, but most of all, it was really about, we are in the type of industry where we are all trying to make it.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. No matter
Hmm.
what anyone says, it's not. And if you do make it easily, it's going to be hard to maintain.
Hmm.
Okay. And so there's responsibility there.
Hmm.
But, you know, we should be uplifting one another. We should not look at the other person as a competitor or get mad that they did get the role and you didn't. Once again, it's about timing.
Yeah.
And just because someone's on a roll that you may know doesn't mean that you won't be on a roll the next day. You
Hmm.
just got to keep pressing forward, and that's what the the resilience by being in this type of industry really teaches you about yourself.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think that when you don't get a role, it wasn't meant for you.
Hmm.
There's a reason why you didn't get it. Maybe there was something bigger and better that was meant for you that had you gotten that one role that you thought you really wanted or you thought was meant for you and you didn't get, you wouldn't have had this other opportunity available to you. And you were talking about competition. I feel like when you're vibing really low, you're going
I
to try to
mean, low.
compete. Vibing low. Yeah, those low vibrations, you're trying to compete with everybody, right? I think when you get to a different level and you're happy with yourself as a human being and you don't want to talk about people, you want to talk about ideas. You want to talk about creating and making stuff and going to that next level. You don't want to gossip. You get to
Yeah,
that higher level and you stop seeing people like competition, but you see them as collaborators. So then you're like, what can we do to collaborate to make something amazing and magical and leaves an impression on people?
yeah. That
That's
that
true.
that part.
Yes, that part you got. It, it's like Daryl and all of us are saying, it's amazing in my view how we as a community in the entertainment industry, we are supporting each other.
Mhm.
And and you're right, it doesn't the role may not have been meant for you, but
Mhm.
we support each other. It's not a competition,
Right.
and this industry is tough,
Mhm.
and I trust me. I've seen it. Heard people's stories, and but I'm pretty sure people in A-list people in the Hollywood area are having they could say the same thing,
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm
and they
sure. Yeah.
they 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 worked the way to be there too. But a lot
Yes.
of them will say the same story. This entertainment industry is tough, but it's fun.
Mhm.
It's not a competition. We support each other, and that's the one thing you
Mhm.
love about it, right? And
Yeah.
it's like we're a family. Like
Yeah.
you said, it's like we may be strangers, but we're family. It's
Yeah.
like it's to me it's just so bizarre how many people on Instagram and the entertainment industry just follow like your story and message you or say, "Hey, I'm cheering for you," or hey, you're doing amazing, and it's like, okay, that's so cool, and it's like, and to me, it's really cool because it's like, it gives you chills because it's like that you never know you may needed that comment or that
Hmm.
message because it's like you
Hmm.
may be having a rough day, and then
Yeah.
somebody met randomly that you didn't know they were, for example, following you, and they're
Hmm.
like, hey. I saw your auction. I saw your acting reel. I saw everything. You were doing amazing. And you're looking at that message and you're like, wow, I needed
Yeah.
that for that today. To me, that's powerful because that's what I love about the entertainment industry. Because your family may not be 100% pay attention to it, but as we as
Hmm.
actors in the entertainment industry, we're always kind of glued to our phone. Say, okay, what, I'm not an actor, but I'm just gonna say, oh my goodness, what acting role can I go? What can I
Yeah.
audition for? And you're looking through, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
wait, this person just did this role. I need to go cheer them on, and and now you're
Yeah.
focusing on that, and that to me, I think it's really really cool because you're always looking, you're always paying attention, you're always seeing what's going on. So that's what I love about the entertainment industry.
Oh, for sure. We have to be each other's biggest supporters and biggest cheerleaders, because we are the ones that understand what it takes to get that role, to get that show, to get whatever it is that is so hard to obtain. We understand, we know, we go through it. And I think that's why some of our biggest supporters are each other because we know
Mhm.
what it took to get that. And not everybody does. And you're right. I've gotten uh, people have commented before. I actually just got one today, and she said something along the line. She thanks me for being a Christian actor and actress, and just putting it out there and trying to make wholesome content and leading with that. And that I inspired her to go for her dreams of being an actress. And so I messaged her back. I was like, that message meant so much to me, more than you know because it filled that little thing that I was trying to do is, inspire other people and spread just joy and love and light and have people want to be inspired to either follow their dream or follow Jesus. She was already a Jesus follower, so she decided to follow her dream.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that I mean, you're so right on with that.
Absolutely amazing. Um, as yourself, as an actress, what is the most challenging role you ever taken?
Oh. Okay. Actually, it was the lead role in Sleepless Beauty. Um, I don't know how much I can say. I don't want to say too much, but there was a very challenging aspect to that role. Um, and yeah, I can't say a lot about it just because I'm not sure what I can talk about. But that role, it did have a very challenging aspect. And I just remember thinking like every single time I had to do this one thing, I was just like, oh, please get it right. Like, please get it right. And so when the movie comes out, and I will be gladly tell you exactly what that thing was, and maybe you'll figure it out if you see the movie. But yeah, that Sleepless Beauty, that was by far the most challenging role, not because of the dialogue. It was an action thing that I had to do. I'll say that it was an action thing that I had to do.
Okay,
So yeah.
we understand. And where can people see it when it comes out? You said it's going to be in theaters, correct?
So Your It is going to be premiere locally in theaters. I think that one is going to be on Prime, and a couple other streaming ones, but Sleepless Beauty for sure is going to be on Prime as well. I'm not sure the other streaming platforms, but Prime is like the big one, so that's the one that I'm like, okay, cool. Sorry, I just shook the camera.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And congratulations on that role. I know that being a lead at any point in time, I just realized that for myself that that very same thing, there's a lot more responsibility when you are the lead versus supporting or an extra. A lead has a lot more, there's a lot more demand from
And
you.
yeah, and I don't even think it's just the demand of knowing your lines and showing up to set ready to work, but I also think it's like setting the tone and the vibe for everybody else. So
Yeah.
if you are the lead, I have this kind of motto because I'm a veteran, 15 minutes early, I'm on time. On time, I'm late. So no matter where I go, I try to be 15 minutes early. And if I've never been there before, sometimes end up being like 30 minutes early, but I would rather that in case like there's a traffic accident or something, like unforeseen stuff. I would rather be early than on time. So I think kind of setting a standard for everybody, being a leader, showing up early, having a good demeanor and attitude, and treating every single person on set with kindness and respect, because we're all there to work together and make magic, whether it's your PA or your gaffer or your DP, anybody, your script supervisor, they're your best friend. Because when you can't get a line down for whatever reason, they're the ones that's going to help you out. So, I mean, it's just important to be kind and friendly to everybody and show the same respect to everybody, no matter who they are or what their job is.
I love that.
I love that. Very true.
My my question for you is, what is the most valuable lesson that you have learned in life or during your time in the entertainment industry?
Okay. I have two answers. One can go for both. I would say first one is lead with kindness. And you said that as well. And my beloved, elated grandfather, one of his last imparting words of wisdom to all his grandchildren was, be kind. And he was an antique dealer in Sevierville, Tennessee. So he saw all kinds of people at his antique store. And it was just his last message was, be kind, spread kindness, be kind. So I would say that in life and also in the industry, but also in life and in the industry, don't take no for an answer. You are the only one that can decide who and what you can be and what you can achieve. And there will always be people who will be naysayers and don't think you can, but use that for fuel for your fire to ignite your passion even more. Because if God's on your side, who can tell you no? Who can tell you no?
Nobody.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nobody.
And you
Nobody.
set your limits. You set your limits. Nobody else does. Other people might try, but that's the thing is they try. You're the only one that's going to say when enough is enough, or how, are you willing to go that extra mile? You're the only one that does that. Nobody else does. So I think a lot of it is just, be kind and to stay determined for whatever it is that you want to do. Don't give up.
Mm, very
That
true.
whole clip right there, Ryochi, should just be the whole clip is a heading right there.
I agree. 100%.
I mean, you guys know, you guys are in it. You guys live it. And you can't take no for an answer. You got to keep pressing on no matter what.
hmm
Yes.
that's true. We are in it, and it's just it's fun, but it's also we're in it. We don't like to take a no for an answer, but
Yeah.
everything is, we're thankful for God for sure, but we go through challenges,
Yeah.
and um personally my own story, I'm not an actor. I've always been a podcast person, but I've experienced the challenges in my life, and
Hmm.
I know Daryl has, I know you have, Cassandra,
Hmm.
but we all have. But I always say I'm always thankful for God because,
Hmm.
the next day there's always something new.
Yeah.
The next following day there's something new. And that's what I love about the entertainment industry because you also run into people that you never thought you would run into. It's
Yeah.
like, wait, wow, I just ran into someone, right? And it's like, you run into people in the entertainment industry and they're like, and it's just so cool because you both look at each other, you may have a conversation. It's like, and somehow, either one person or yourself will say, God meant us for us to meet. And, the other person may be thinking, so, I was having a bad day the other day, but, something told me to go out and get some coffee or whatever. And it's
Hmm.
like, wow, I just didn't know I run into another actor or whatever, right?
Hmm.
But that to me is just powerful, right? Testimony of whatever God has plans for you, it will happen. And that for sure is a true testimony.
100%. What is meant to be for you, what your destiny and what your fate is, I feel like is already set for you. And the way you get there is dependent on what path you decide to take in life. Um, but nothing's going to stop you. Nothing is going to stop you. You're going to get there. You
Yeah.
just got to keep pushing.
Very true. What is your greatest strength as an actress?
Greatest strength. I would probably say tenacity.
Okay. Why is
Tenacity.
that?
I have a lot of tenacity because I'm not going to take no for an answer. I'm gonna keep pushing. I just, I lived enough life previously not chasing my dream to know what is out there if I don't. And here's the thing too. I think this is the key factor when you're in the industry. You have to have a life outside of your dream. You can't put your life on hold just to chase your dream. You have to keep living at the same time and enjoy life and enjoy your family or enjoy your friends. Go out to eat at this nice restaurant you've been wanting to go to for months, or go take the vacation that you want to go to. Because like I said before, tomorrow's not promised. You don't know when your time is to go. So to put all the stress that we can put on ourselves when we're like wanting to get this role or wanting to get this guest on our show or whatever it is, if you're solely focused on that, then I think you can lose your passion and you can lose your drive and your tenacity. So I think it's important to just keep living every single day, enjoy your life outside of whatever your dream is. The dream is just the cherry on top. That's all the dream is. It's the cherry on top.
Wow, that's a powerful message. Appreciate it,
I mean, she just coming with all kinds of facts.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
You know, I almost have nothing to say, but I have to see them. But
I
to
mean,
be
I was
honest,
gonna
it's
let you go, Ryoji, after
yeah,
that. I was
yeah.
like, I don't know what.
It's a powerful message, and I totally agree with you. Like a cherry on top, go for it. You know, it's just everything you're saying is going to help the audience. In I think for sure because this entertainment industry, you're
Mhm.
going to have, like you said, some kids who are 6, 7, 8 years old who are already in the entertainment industry, or who
Mhm.
are you have some adults who are trying to get in, who are going into the entertainment industry. But
Yeah.
either
Yeah.
way, what the situation is, where you're telling stories is that it doesn't matter what age you are, don't give up, don't take a no. But also, you just mentioned about auditions.
Mhm.
You said, hey, if you don't get the role, don't worry about it. It's not meant for you. And I think
Yeah.
right there is a key message for a lot of young actors out there.
Mhm.
Because in this entertainment industry, a lot of young actors is that we already talked about it, but when they go up for auditions, they
Mhm.
get nervous, they get freaked out. My
Mhm.
right wording, I'm gonna say, but they don't understand. They're like, "Oh, I'm not. This is not for me. I quit." No, it's
Yeah.
not that. It's about it's not. This role may not been meant for you. But what's so
Right.
interesting about it is these actors who are on set, who are watching you, these directors who are watching you doing these auditions as a
Mhm.
6-year-old, 10-year-old, 12, whatever age you are, they're watching you and they're going to say, we're going to keep this tape because
Mhm.
whenever there's another role and they're saying, hey,
Mhm.
Director Daryl, I'm looking for a 6-year-old daughter, this high, blah, blah. And he may be saying, hey, I know someone. She auditioned
Mhm.
for my film, but she didn't get it. But contact her. She's fit for it. And then
Which
you
is,
never know, right? And then
yeah,
you get the role, and then you're like, wait, I didn't have to audition for it. It's like, no, because this
yeah.
director just gave me your tape. And that's one thing you love about the entertainment industry, the community support, but also your message is about don't take a no for an answer. Go for it. Chase your dream.
Mhm. And
And
know who you are,
yes,
know your boundaries, don't give up, and don't forget to live life outside
amen.
of
Yes.
your
Have
dream.
fun. Go on
Have fun.
vacation.
Yeah. Yeah. And always leave an impact on somebody, even if it's just being a good, kind, nice human being. Because maybe somebody had a terrible day and you were the one person that made it okay, you know?
Yeah.
That's true. And you can
My
go impact someone's life, right?
Yeah.
And in the public, and it doesn't matter if they're in the entertainment industry or not,
Right.
and I can make you tell you it's true story, a brief story. I was in the store and I saw this mother crying at the register
Mm,
and she couldn't afford her $99.30 grocery and
mm,
her daughter was with her.
mm.
And I was standing there and this sounds horrible, but I wasn't going to pay. But you
Yeah.
know what? Something told me, God was telling me, help out.
Yeah.
So I told the register, how much was it? And she said, I'm going to pay for it. And
Hmm.
the register looked at me and said, really? And he says,
Hmm.
yes, I'm buying this and this, but I'm going to pay for it with mine. And I said, go get the mom. And she
Hmm.
comes in here crying and thanking me, and I paid for it. But
Yeah.
I felt so happy
Yeah.
people in there looking at me. It's like, wow. And to
Yeah.
me, it's like, you know, that made me happy because I'm
Yeah.
changing someone else, somebody's story in the community. But
Yeah.
also, I'm showing that daughter that there is kindness
Hmm.
in the community. Sorry, I had to
And
get a
that
little off topic.
Yeah, that internal voice that you heard, I kind of always think of it like, the old cartoons, Tom and Jerry, and you see the little angel on one shoulder and the little demon on the other shoulder, and they're like fighting back and forth. That's kind of how I go through life. I feel like, when you get that like something inside of you, like, oh, you need to do this for somebody to help them, or just reach out to them. You haven't heard from them a while. They haven't posted on Facebook. Reach out to them, see if they're okay. Or if you have that thought like, oh, you could get away with sneaking in. It's $50. You can sneak in easily. Why would you want to? When you get those voices, I mean, it really is like the angel and demon, and I really think most people want to be good people and follow good, but I think we're also taught to kind of just push things down and ignore our intuitions and
Hmm.
our gut feelings. But I think most people's intuition is to try to do the good thing, right? And try to help somebody else. And it does give you this sense of joy and fulfillment on the inside that nothing else does. And it's
Right.
not doing something to get recognition for it. It's not doing something to post about it on social media until, hey, I just went and fed 200 homeless people. It's not about the recognition. I think people that genuinely they just do stuff from kindness of their heart. It's not to reciprocate or to get anything back from it. It's just
Mhm.
because that angel was like not letting you live it down until you fulfilled
Right, right.
that. And
Hmm.
and then you just had this sense of joy and peace, and that was kind of the reward of it.
Yeah,
yeah.
and I felt peace. Somebody asked me, "Oh, we need to, get you famous for that." And I said, "No, no, no.
Yeah.
I just felt like as a human being, you
Yeah.
know, if I was in that situation, I want someone else to do the same." So I
Hmm.
said, I'm paying it forward,
Hmm.
and that mother thanked me, and to me, I was a little emotional, but for me, I was proud. And I
Yeah.
went on the day just felt different. I was
Yeah.
just going on, and it was like, I don't know how to describe it, but I felt like a big happiness atmosphere around me. I was
Yeah.
just going around enjoying my day. But and it's just like you were talking about, is that in the entertainment industry, that's what it's about. We just support each other, and that's one thing I love about it. And I just
Yeah. And you
wanted
don't
to
have
say
to
that.
work with everybody, right? If it's somebody that is giving you a bad feeling or not respecting you, have enough self-respect to just walk away, you
Hmm.
know? If you haven't already committed. I mean, if you committed, obviously you have to finish your terms of the contract, but if it's but then you just know, like, hey, for the future, and maybe you don't want to work with that person anymore because they didn't have the kindness and the respect that one should have for just a human being in general, because
Hmm.
not all people think like us. You're going to come across the bad apples. They're out there. That's just a part
Right.
of life. That's part of living. But it's choosing to be the light, choosing to be the good when you're faced with the bad, when you're faced with adversity. Gosh, it's getting
Yeah.
late. It's my
There you
bedtime.
go. There you go.
Cassandra, who or an actor or a person who
Mhm.
deeply impacted you or you looked up to in
Mhm.
this entertainment industry?
Okay. I have two actors that come to mind. One is Robin Williams.
Okay.
I love comedy. And ironically enough, I have not got done a comedy yet. But I really, really love comedy. I love to laugh. I feel like life is so serious and heavy that, people want to laugh. They want to feel good. And that's where the comedy is just so amazing. And Robin Williams was just a comedic genius. And he was a good person too. I read somewhere that no matter what set he was on, he would always make production hire 10 homeless people to be in his movie. Now,
Wow.
I
That's
don't know
amazing.
the validity of that, but it does sound like something that he would do just from seeing like interviews that he's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I thought, wow, like that again is just showing that kindness, that humanity, that empathy for people and trying to leave a little bit of good in the world, no matter
Mhm.
what you're doing and where you're at. So he's number one. Um, and then number two would probably be so random, Keanu Reeves.
Okay. Got the
Okay,
good.
yeah, okay.
Keanu Reeves, because he always seems very respectful to women in public. If you guys have seen photos of him posing, he never actually puts his hands on anybody. He's kind of just hovering around them, being respectful of their own personal space and boundaries, never like overly touchy-feely. Plus, he's in a monogamous, committed relationship with a woman who is his age.
Mhm.
Most Hollywood actors tend to go for women that are way too young for them, and I know people will probably come for me and say, oh, age is just a number, but there's a lot of things that come with age and different life experiences that come with age that you cannot necessarily connect with somebody unless you've had that time to go through those same or similar experiences. So
Yeah.
Wow.
I say Keanu Reeves, just, and I mean, he does, The Matrix, come on.
I love Keanu Reeves. I love
Yeah,
Robin Williams as well. Those are
yeah.
two of my favorite.
Those two. And then I would say if I was gonna pick a third, it would be Eddie Murphy. Another comedic actor. Because he is just like, you know, he's a classic, man. Like, how could you not with Eddie Murphy? He's amazing. I grew up
Yeah.
watching all of his movies, so
And you never really hear anything bad about him whatsoever.
right. Right. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I think all three of those actors, you never really hear, there's no bad. I don't know. I've not heard anything bad about any three of those actors.
Yeah.
No, I
Okay, my
totally agree.
question for you. What advice would you give your younger self now that you have been in the industry as long as you have? And go.
Um, be confident in who you are. I think a lot of times, when you're constantly getting criticism or feedback, that sometimes you can start to question yourself. And I would just say always just be confident in who you are and what you bring to the table no matter what. And know that, not every role is meant for you, and that's okay. But just to don't give up and don't lose your sense of self-worth and value in the process.
Yeah, for
Thank you.
sure. I, I just want to speak on that because I think it's so important that, this isn't always about how you look or how wealthy you are. It's about your talent. And, you know, just because you may not find your crowd in the beginning does not mean you will never find your crowd. They are
Mhm.
out there. You have to be patient. You're in a journey. You're in that journey when you get in
Mhm.
this industry and when you find your people, your tribe, you'll know.
Yeah. And enjoy the journey, enjoy the journey. I think a lot of people kind of like stress out during the journey because they're wanting to be further faster. And what they're not realizing is maybe they're not getting there as fast as they wanted to because they need to learn a little more life
Mhm.
lessons along the way. And I told something to a friend the other day, another friend in the industry, and I was kind of putting things in perspective. And I was like, maybe we're being held back so that way when God propels us forward, we're prepared, we're ready for
Yeah.
when the big stuff happens, right? Because once you are to that level, you have no privacy anymore.
Hmm.
The world sees and hears everything. Everything will be taken out of context. Everything will be taken out of context. Um, they're gonna catch you on your bad days when you don't have your cute outfit on, you don't have your hair done, you don't have your makeup done, you're looking rough. You just rolled up, maybe you got the flu and you're just trying to go to the drugstore to get some medicine, and there might be like a paparazzi there. Or maybe you're just trying to sit down and have dinner with your family at a restaurant, but people are coming up and asking for your autograph. You don't know. So I would say, yeah, like it's just the journey is part of it. Just enjoy the ride, because I feel like once you get to that level of success, there's no turning back. You're there,
Yeah.
you're in the spotlight. And you're it's going to be a different lifestyle from there on out. So don't take for granted what you have going on now.
Yeah. I like that.
Oh, very good. Very nice. And that's a very good message, and just keep everything you're saying is so powerful, the message and the encouragement. Don't take no for an answer. Just keep going with the faith and, keep fighting and go for it. That's true. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me on your guys' podcast.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. We definitely enjoyed it. And, you have a great spirit about you. And hearing how you speak, I could never imagine you not confident.
Oh,
So
thank you. That means
keep
a
do,
lot. That means more than you know. Trust me. Thank you.
keep doing what you're doing. It's
Yeah,
working.
please keep it up. Your messages are so powerful, so touching. Has impacted myself, for sure my co-host Daryl. But it's going to impact a lot of listeners who are going to be watching this on our podcast, and a lot of people who are going to be watching this on YouTube and everything. They're going to be so powerful and paying attention to the messages that you're giving to the audience and for the future actors and actresses who want to get in entertainment industries, because it's about don't give up, go for it, don't take a no for an answer, but also
Mhm.
whenever God says it's time to go into your step, you
Mhm,
that's when you're going to have your step into the entertainment industry.
mhm,
And also we touched base about family, family in the entertainment industry.
mhm,
People who are getting into the entertainment industry don't believe, oh, supporters, we're a family, and then they start experiencing it
mhm.
and they're like, wow, this is amazing. This
Yeah.
is absolutely amazing. And that's a good message how we all support each other in this
Mhm.
entertainment industry. So thank you. Thank
Definitely.
you.
Thank you so much for having me. I have enjoyed the conversation. I feel like I could talk to you guys, keep talking to you guys about more stuff because the conversation is really good.
Yeah. But where can people find you? Give them your, social media, put it out there. Let's have people connect with you, producers, directors, whoever is looking for someone that loves Jesus and someone that is just passionate about what she does, get a hold of her.
Thank you so much, Daryl. So my biggest social that I use is actually Instagram, and that's Cassandra, Cassandra underscore Dawn, Dawn underscore underscore. I'm also on Facebook at the same name, Cassandra Dawn. And you can find me on IMDb, of course, under the same name, Cassandra Dawn. I think I'm the third though on that one. I have a second account. I have to figure out how to merge them. I still have not figured out all the technical stuff with IMDb yet. So yeah, and you can find I'm actually signed with Millie Lewis Modeling and Talent, and they're out of Charleston, South Carolina. And I'm on Actors Access as well. Same name, Cassandra Dawn. So, and everything is linked to my Instagram page as well. So if you just go on my Instagram, you can click the link and find your way through it. So it makes it a little bit easier.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, thank
Awesome.
you. Thank you for coming on the Red Carpet Roundtable podcast, and we look forward to catching up on you again and having you back on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much,
And
Ryochi. Thank you
also,
so much.
if you have anything that you want to share with us, send it to myself or Daryl, and we'll gladly share it on our Red Carpet Roundtable Instagram page and promote it.
Oh,
Yep.
thank you so much. I appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much, Gerald. I had such a good time talking to you both. You both have such amazing spirits and it definitely shines through. And so does your passion. And because of that, I know you guys are going to be successful no matter what. And you guys just have that very endearing kindness about you that we so need in this industry. So many people get depleted so easily, their cups are emptied, and it's people who are passionate and happy that just help uplift everybody. So keep doing what you're doing. You're going to be successful. I know you're going to have your big show, just like Ellen DeGeneres. And
Yes, we hope. Daryl
when
too.
you
He's
do,
gonna come along too.
I expect you to have me on your show,
Well, I
okay?
gotta have, to be honest, I have to have Daryl first, be on there with me,
Yeah,
and then,
yeah,
I'm
both of you
there.
guys.
I'm there.
You both, you can't forget me, okay? So when you guys got your
yes,
big show on what, I don't know, Prime or Netflix or wherever it is, don't forget about Cassandra Dawn,
we,
okay?
I
Got it.
promise I will not forget about you, and we cannot wait to have you back on our podcast on the Red Carpet Roundtable. So thank you, Cassandra. We definitely will not forget about you. We'll definitely stay in touch.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much. And
much.
I just have one last thing to say before I go about your guys' podcast. Are you ready?
Yes.
Oh, snap.
Oh
Oh,
snap!
snap. Okay.
Love that. Love
Yeah,
that. Thank you.
that's
Thank you
awesome.
guys. You guys have a very, very merry and blessed Christmas and holidays, whatever it is that you guys celebrate. I hope it's a good one.
You too.
Thank
Merry
you. You
Christmas.
too. Have a great
Thank
one.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye.